There we go, we got a fish on. What's going on, everybody? It's the Indoor Hunter, and we are once again in pursuit of some wild mushrooms. We're joined today by Swamp Monster. She's feeling a little camera shy, which is okay, because we still haven't hit 3,000 subs. So the second we do that, she'll be joining us. But we're gonna go see what kind of flora and fauna we can find that we can nourish our bodies with. And well, stay tuned, because the next time we're back, we'll hopefully have some mushrooms. There is some catastrophic flooding ongoing too, so we're probably going to check some of that out just to see what's going on. So, I don't know. Mushroom in particular that we're looking for is the Chantrelle mushroom. Actually, this time of year, it's more likely going to be the smooth chanterelle, but chanterelles are chanterelles for the most part. So we're going to keep our eyes for them. It's super thick and gross right now. Bugs, snakes, all kinds of stuff everywhere. We've actually got our first edible mushroom of the day. This right here, folks, is known as wood ear. And, well, I guess you can kind of see where it gets its namesake. There's some of these mushrooms that really do look like ears, but those are edible. And honestly, they're not bad. But we're after chanterelle, so we're going to keep looking. That was a cool find, though. And here we go, folks. We didn't have to search far. We've got our first group of chanterelles. Hopefully you guys can see those pretty easily. They're bright yellow. Now these can be mistaken for the deadly and toxic jack-o'-lantern mushroom, but luckily those shouldn't be growing this time of year. Those are some pretty looking mushrooms, folks, and if everything goes well, we're gonna have a whole bunch to have at the end of this. Hundreds and hundreds, hopefully. These seem to grow plentiful where I'm at. A lot of people don't like searching for chanterelles this time of year because, well, this is what the woods look like. There's bugs, snakes, critters. It's pretty gnarly, but this is when they're beautiful and big. Now, these are smooth chanterelles. These are not golden chanterelles. The goldens are the crazy giant ones that grow out in like big, beautiful spirals. We might get lucky. It's a little early for those. Those should start growing soon, but got a pretty good number here. We've got a group here. There's another group right back here. I'll show you guys. And that chanterelle there is a little bit bigger. But you can see why these are so fun and easy to come out and find, because there's nothing that really looks like them outside of those jack-o'-lantern mushrooms. But they just grow everywhere. They're brightly colored. They just kind of pop against the environment, making it super easy. In fact, I can actually see more right there. And we're not even in like the good spots where we search at in our favorite little hole here. We're just in a, we found them here before. We'll see what there is, and sure enough, here they are. And here's some pink chanterelles. You can see those beautiful inset. They don't necessarily have gills. I'm gonna get a good. This is the best way to positively ID if you're just not sure about chanterelles. Is those what they look like under the hood there? They've got false gills, whereas jack-o'-lantern mushrooms will have true gills. And if we find anything like that, I'll show you guys as an example. But you can tell. And the reason they call these smooth chanterelles is sometimes those bottoms are smooth, so they can be kind of hard, but once you get to knowing what they look like these guys here, you can pretty much positively identify chanterelles instantaneously. But it's profusely raining right now, but we just came across our very first critter of the day. Mr. Box Turtle hanging out, getting himself some much needed water. Pretty cool coloration on that guy. But we're gonna let him be. He's having some fun. Continue looking for these mushrooms in a beautiful rainstorm. Now this little guy could get you in trouble too. That is what I believe to be an Amanita species of mushroom, which can be potentially deadly, so you don't want to mistake that for a chanterelle. And then random sidebar, I don't know if you guys can see that impression. White-tailed deer definitely like to sleep here. I digress. That's the little guy you don't want to pick and put in your body. Here's the river, how engorged it is right now. And typically this trail goes another 12 feet that way. And we've got a tree going down the river right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Just big time flooding right now. A lot of rain in this area. When you see a water that looks like this, turn around, don't drown. One downside to being out this time of year though, these little cute little spiders like to make their webs right at face level, so it helps to have a spider stick, I like to call it. Get rid of those spider webs so you're not getting blasted in the face by them. So I've decided not to record every single time we find it. Then like morels, these guys are fairly common, and you may be wondering, why are you picking them when they're so small? Because these things can and will get very, very large. It's still early in the season, but honestly, this size of chanterelle I like because you can make some fun stuff with it, like put it on toast, kind of stuff like that. And then those giant, big 6 to 8 inch chanterelles are the ones that you can really get gourmet with the chanterelle mushroom. But I don't think we're going to find any giant ones like that today. I think they're all going to be about this size, but this is perfect. I love this size of chanterelle. Again, you can just see those, how they look. Those smooth stalks. Pretty nifty. Now this is a cool find. This is another very edible mushroom. This is a puffball. And I'll put the scientific names in the chat or somewhere on the screen for you guys if I'm not lazy when I'm editing this. But yeah, that's a cute little puffball. Good way to tell if these guys are, now I'm not going to do it now because I can just tell by feeling it. I've done this enough, I've got enough experience that I know this is a good one to go. Good way to tell if these are still good to eat is if you split them open and they're gooey inside. You don't want them, if you split them open and they're just like a marshmallow, which these will be, they're good to go. You can actually see here we've got little chanterelles kind of sprinkled about, but definitely my favorite time to be out in the woods is this time of year when these kind of things. Now these guys, these can get huge, these can get basketball sized. Little tiny guy, but pretty cool to find. All right, folks, here we go. We are on the mother lode of some giant chanterelles now. We just about slipped and died, but these are the big gold ones that we're looking for. Absolutely. Some big dudes here. Another big guy over there. Another big guy over there. Pretty stinking awesome. We see something interesting with chanterelles. We're walking through a trail, trying to find our next little spot, and lo and behold, they're on the trail themselves. Morels can do this too, but chanterelles are definitely more likely to. They grow pretty everywhere, but that's not what's cool. What I wanted to show you guys is what they look like when they're little tiny babies. We got a pretty good representation right here. What they look like when they're starting out. This guy, I mean, I don't have the world's biggest hands, but you can see just how big it is compared to my finger. These guys are tiny. That just means in a few weeks, they're gonna be nice and big and ready for us to pick though. There's a few out here though that are of harvest size, like these guys for example. Some decent sized smooth chanterelles, and the reason I'm calling them smooth again, folks, is because it looks pretty smooth, don't it? And like those goldens, as we find the bigger golden ones, can really show a difference. But we're gonna keep looking, and actually, now that we're out here, we've got some fairly fresh looking turkey tail mushroom. That is actually brand new fresh. That is a very healthy mushroom. Good brain health, good nootropic mushroom to find. These are excellent. Very good for you. They're pretty common too. We may run into a few more of those. We're probably not going to collect them today because we're after chanterelles. This time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty confident we found some of the giant golden chanterelles. Perhaps I was mistaken. I think it's time of the year for them to grow because we've got some absolute monster chanterelles, golden chanterelles. Kind of everywhere. There's a pretty awesome bullet. I want to know, I can't remember the actual name, and forgive me folks because I am not a mycologist, but I'm pretty sure that is a hamburger patty or something, hamburger something, but I'm somewhat confident that is edible, but there's a lot of bullets that aren't, and without being a mycologist, I'm not about it. So that said, these guys right here, absolute giant chanterelles. And that's exactly what we've come to find. These guys right here are textbook smooth chanterelles. As you can see, they have no real definitive goals. If you get up real close and personal, you can kind of sort of see them. That's what you want to look for, but what you want to watch out for is this guy right here. Not a chanterelle. Note the gill or the skirt. It's got actual true gills versus just smooth. It's the same color, as you can see. This one's potentially deadly. This one's healthy. Want to make sure before you get out here, folks, to brush up. Again, once you know what a chanterelle is and what it looks like, it's super easy to ID them. You don't have to worry about it. But if you're just starting this out, or if you want to go check your local neck of the woods for these, because these are very common mushroom, folks. This is one of those, if you're a first-time mushroom hunter, get out here and find these guys because they're super easy, super fun. Just be safe about it. Now again, folks, I'm not a mycologist, so I can't positively identify. I'm pretty sure jack-o'-lantern mushrooms in my neck of the woods don't start growing until later in the year, but these are pretty suspicious looking. They look very similar to chanterelles, but they're translucent. They're kind of weird, and you know what? There's so many. We're leaving them and going on. Not risking it. Now again, folks, I'm not a mycologist, so I can't positively identify. I'm pretty sure jack-o'-lantern mushrooms in my neck of the woods don't start growing until later in the year, but these are pretty suspicious looking. They look very similar to chanterelles, but they're translucent. They're kind of weird, and you know what? There's so many. We're leaving them and going on. Not risking it. Got yet another pleasant mushroom surprise. We've got a ton of coral mushroom just all over the place. Now, this is one of those mushrooms that some people claim are poisonous, some people claim they're completely edible. Now, one mushroom, I actually personally love eating coral mushrooms, but it's the crown tip coral. And this stuff, we're gonna go ahead and collect a small sample. This is what's throwing me off in my own identification here. This is pretty hardy, and typically, crown tip coral mushroom isn't. It's very finely hair-like, it's very, it's strong. There's no, hopefully we can find some more of this today, but the actual stuff that we're looking for. This is a really, really cool find. Again, some people claim you can eat this, but I think I'm gonna be safe and not. And if we do find the actual crown tip coral mushroom, we'll obviously show it on here. It's a huge sample of it here. What's throwing me off is crown tip coral mushroom can only grow out of wood, and there could technically be some wood under here it's growing from, but typically you're going to see it directly growing from stuff like this. So I'm going to skip it for now and hopefully find some true crown tip coral. Well, that didn't take long, folks. Literally, there's the log I just pointed at, and this is actual crown tipped coral. Let's pick some here so I can show you how I know it and why. Notice how the fibers are far more thin. Let's get that. Notice how more hairy that is, and it's a little bouncier, and you can see these, and this is very young, but look at the tips here, how they're kind of growing to be spiky. When this is a full mature specimen, it'll actually have what looks like the tops of castle towers. But there's quite a few of it here. There's some growing right in the middle of some sort of mushroom, but that's more crown tip coral. We've got a daddy long legs down there. Just a great time to be out in nature. This is a much better representation of the false coral mushroom that maybe you can eat it, maybe you can't. We're not risking it. This guy, however, is the mushroom we're looking for. These are delicious. So we're going to keep looking for those and chanterelles and everything else we can find. Here's a good representation of what the coral mushroom should look like growing out of the wood there. Pretty pumped about finding more in that. We just happened to find even more big chanterelle, so I'm pretty excited. There's a ton of little guys just everywhere in here. I'm actually kind of sort of more excited about this dude right there. Again, you can see those tops that look like the tops of castles, or the crown, which is why they've gotten the name crown-tipped coral.